What up, everybody? It's your boy Lavell Vegas, Terrance Gawith, and Mara Hansen. And you know what? This is the season finale, man, and we're here to have fun. We got a special guest, but let's get to this food real quick, man. It's from Lansky's. We got a pepperoni calzone. I know everybody's ready to dig in, and then we got some fries that's seasoned unlike everybody else here. But let's get to the guy to the left of me, man. This guy does comedy. He's a teacher. He's part of Z-Track. No, actually, he's the creator of Z-Track Productions. He's part of Comedy and Chaos. Give it up for my friend, Scott, Mr. Z Zimmerman. Let's go. Come on.
Hi. Thank you. Thank you. Good to be here, you guys.
I've been picking the whole time. I'm gonna pick.
That's fine. Pick away.
There we go.
Dude, I think that spicy barbecue sauce too is just dripped on the table.
Oh, that's all right. He'll clean it.
Like
He'll lick it right off.
Yeah.
I've seen him.
I will.
Yeah, you talking about the table, right?
Right.
All right.
I am.
Sure, man. How you feeling, man?
Man, all said, all done. I'm doing okay. I can't complain too much, but that's mostly because no one listens anyway. So
Yeah,
I just keep my mouth shut and keep moving forward, right? But no, things are going good, bro. Thanks for having me on.
Ain't no problem, man. You know, we've been trying to get you on for a minute.
I know.
You know, we've been talking on and off sometimes, and then I'll be forgetting, and then the list is there, then it's not there, man. So I'm happy you here, man.
It's all good.
So we always ask people right off the bat, what made you start doing comedy?
Oh, a dare. Yeah.
A dare?
Yeah. There was a veteran comic here in town who I had been friends with for a long time, and we were out partying, doing karaoke, and I found out he had never done karaoke before. And I'm like, how can a comedian not do karaoke? Like, you're 40 years old, get up there and do that. And he's like, I'll make you a deal. I'll do karaoke tonight if you show up on Tuesday and do an open mic for comedy. And I was like, all right, let's go. So he got up there and did the thing, and I was like, crap. So I went home and I wrote my strongest 4-minute set that I could deliver for a backline open mic. And I sat and I waited for my name to get up there, and I got up there, I did the 4 minutes, and man, it hit hard. It hit me right here. And I was like, holy crap, this is what's been missing from my life. You know, and I haven't looked back once since. I've really just had a good time showing up, making people laugh.
My bad. I honestly think that's like one of the worst things that can happen to a new comic is for it to go well. Yeah. Because then you get that feeling, and then you're like, oh no, I meant to do this, and then you just keep hitting every roadblock up to that point because you're addicted to it, man. Like it's a beautiful.
For me, it's just you chase the dragon, right? You just keep going after it, and sometimes you're getting what you want, and sometimes you're not. Yeah. The reality is, as long as people keep calling you to book you, you're doing something right. You know what I mean? And even if you're not getting calls to get booked, I would say you're probably doing something right. Yeah. Because depends on the venue, depends on the promoters, depends on the, you got to be likable and you got to be relatable for that crowd and that venue. And I'm not everybody's cup of tea. I know that. Right. So it doesn't hurt my feelings when I see all these other people out getting their gigs and doing their thing. It's like I'm doing just as much comedy as I want to do. Yeah. That's where I'm at with this. So I'm having a good time. All said, all done. Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah. That's a good outlook, man. Especially like when you have a lot of comics, I think, in the scene in general, and not just this scene here in Omaha, in any scene. A lot of them struggle with that, and they struggle because they have day jobs or they can't do this full time or haven't done it full time, right? So it's that well, I'm not a real comic, but it's like you'd be surprised at how many very funny people that are road tested but still got a 9-to-5 somewhere in the middle of nowhere.
And if you love your 9-to-5, what's better than having an enjoyable hobby that you can go out and have a little bit of fun, make people laugh, make new friends. Absolutely. And at the end of the day, maybe make a couple extra bucks every once in a while. I mean, it's not a bad racket. Yeah. It's everything I was getting when I was doing the rock star lifestyle, when I was playing drums in a band. But I don't have to lug any gear anywhere. I just show up, the microphone's there. Yeah. I don't got to worry about coordinating with anybody else. If I want to practice, I just do my thing. And I show up and I gig. And I'm getting that same feeling, that adrenaline from being in front of people, for putting on a show. Which for some, like, they only get out and do that for their open mics or their stage shows. But as a teacher, I'm literally on a stage all day. Right. So I have a captive audience. I can try all kinds of miserable jokes all day long.
Right.
And some of them stick and make it to an open mic every once in a while, but most of them are just to keep the kids engaged in the learning process.
Absolutely. Yeah.
I heard you play the drums, man. We actually got a surprise for you, man.
No, no.
No, we don't.
I actually
where's the
I retired from
rolling it
drums.
out.
I've had a litany of health issues the last few
Oh,
years.
bro, no.
Platform
Yeah.
stage.
I was about to say, man, with his shoulder, he'd be like this.
Yeah, I did invest in a tenor saxophone, so I'm playing the bendy sex whistle these days. So
Oh,
yeah,
yeah,
it's good times.
Nice.
That's what's up, man.
Yeah.
From the drums to
Yeah, no, music's in my soul. Like it's never gonna go away.
Yeah.
So.
Ain't nothing wrong with that. I just give reaction.
No, you're good. You're good. You got a kit? Let's go.
You ever so you practice your jokes in class? Like do you practice or you just do like little subtle stuff like just to see?
Yeah, what I like about the classroom environment is like I work with 20 little variables every day, and you never know what they're gonna say, you never know what they're gonna do. So I'm always trying to find the humor component of what's happening, right? So I turn it more into a situational comedic event than me coming in with a scripted list of jokes. Every once in a while I'll write a new joke and I'll walk into the kids, I'll be like, hey, this joke's appropriate. My son said I can't tell it. You want to hear it? You know? And
See, I feel like if I were to be in that position, I'd just work on crowd work. But like,
crowd work. I mean,
insulting crowd
Well,
work.
no, hey, guys,
Man, look at what this dude's wearing today.
Can we not talk about?
No, we're not
crowd
gonna
work?
do that.
You know what I mean? Can
Listen,
we not talk about
listen.
crowd work here?
I
I said, are we talking
We
about
got a sore spot.
no, we're not going to talk about
Can
crowd
we
work.
just stick to
That's
the
a
jokes?
sore subject.
To the jokes. Let's not talk about crowd
Seriously,
work.
can't you just prepare a set,
Just
right?
prepare a set. Just have jokes.
I mean,
We got 20 shows coming up based off crowd work. You know,
Dude, yeah.
just stick to the jokes.
I will roast
I told you, man, don't.
20 students.
It takes all different types of comedians in this business. All of them.
there,
Clean comics, dirty comics, raw comics, offensive comics, crowd work comics. We need them all.
Yeah.
We need them all, and there's a place for all of them on the stages. It's just you got to find your niche. You got to find your venue. You got to find your promoter that's willing to push you and push it out
Gotta
there.
find that gatekeeper, you know, stuff
Yeah.
like that.
Well, yeah. No, the gatekeepers, you got to bribe them a little
Just a
bit.
little bit.
Kiss their butt.
Make sure I got all my jokes ready. So how'd you,
I don't like the gatekeepers.
this ain't about me.
No, it's not.
I hope nobody thinks that. I don't want this.
I thought some
We
other
didn't scratch any wounds or anything.
I don't want the promotion and the you know what? Let's just
Yeah.
the season finale.
Right.
So I'm-
Right, let's
My
go.
bad,
But see, that's
man.
why I always tell Lavetti, man, like there's no blueprint to this.
There's
thing,
not.
Right?
No,
Like,
I don't think there's a blueprint to anything but like being a doctor.
Right.
And even then, how many different lines of doctor
Exactly.
are there?
Right.
Like even like
Are you a
lawyers
heart
and stuff,
surgeon?
it's like
Yeah.
there's a pretty big one, but you can get a certain degree and then go to a certain state, take the test,
Yep.
and now you're a lawyer.
Man,
and you can
damn,
go to
you
law
know,
school.
I'm so bamboozled. I didn't find out until recently that not even plumbers are universal, man.
Yeah.
I had a backup in my damn sink,
Yeah,
and I
no.
called people, and they're like, "I only do showers," and I was
Yeah.
like, "Man, what the?
only
Like,
do
are
sewer
you
line."
serious right now?" And so, yeah, there's no blueprint to this thing that you call. It's what you define as success.
Art. It's an art, right? So
Absolutely.
if I throw a bunch of paint on a canvas and I call it art, that is art.
Yes, it is.
Whether or not you think it's art, it's art.
But it'll resonate to those that think.
Maybe.
Yeah, my favorite quote in the entire world is a painting is never finished, it just stops in interesting places.
Yeah.
Ooh,
I love
like
it.
that.
I
Yeah.
love it. That's really cool.
It's my favorite.
That's
God,
very
deep, boy.
interesting. I was gonna say we're getting
I hope
philosophical.
they got-
We're getting
Sorry.
philosophical. I like it. That's
I like
good.
it though. Yeah,
That's we need to
wanna
bring the
keep her
intelligence back down, Mara. Like you're talking to apes.
Eat a
here.
fry.
Right.
Try to,
I
try to
think
take
I
the
will.
fry, put it in
I'll
your
do
nose,
that back
and
with
drag it out of
spicy
your throat.
barbecue
See if you
sauce.
can do
Yeah,
it.
that's right. That's right.
That's bloody, man. So how Z-Trap Productions get started? Bro?
Z-Track Productions came about many, many, many moons ago when I was still in rock bands. So I was promoting shows. I was putting together shows, marketing them, working with venues. Tied it into a record label, Sucking Exhaust Records, where I was
Only
going
to
to
avoid a
record bands and all this stuff. But I really just kind of became a promotions company for these bands. Like I'd set up shows and we'd do the thing. And so when I stopped doing the music thing, I kept trying to do the shows, like set them up. But it was a really bad time. It was right during the whole shutdown, lockdown, all that. And nobody wanted to work. And now we're just starting to come back from that. But musicians are so hard to work with. You know, a comedian, I can call you and say, hey, are you available on the 29th for a gig? And you're like, yes or no. Band, you got to contact their booking agent. And then you got to say, this is the date I'm looking for. And then you got to wait for 5-6 people to respond. And you're at the mercy of the whim of the one that's like, oh no, I got my daughter's recital that night or whatever. And so I've just kind of stepped back from booking the bands and really focused on the comedic arena here in Omaha, specifically because I feel like this scene has a very raw potential to be impactful.
Yeah.
Right? I look at what's going on in other scenes, and yeah, they're bigger. We've got a lot of talent just pressed into this little bubble. And if we could figure out how to kind of harness that and give everybody the time they need and the space they need to entertain people, people will be more likely to go out and spend on the ticket money and come to the show and stay and drink after the comedy show and hang out.
Collaborate for big things
Big
with
events.
that too, man. Like,
Yeah.
that's the thing that we talk about here often too. Is like there's just so much success out there for everybody. Like,
And everybody's success is different.
Yeah, and so with that, man, like I think you have a lot of success in roast battles. One of my favorites
Sure.
to do around this area is the roast battle. So how did that one specifically come about?
Yeah,
Talk
so
to us about that roast.
Caleb and I, my partner with Comedy and Chaos, he's the chaos of Comedy and Chaos on the
I didn't
comedy,
know
obviously.
that.
Yeah, he is the chaos.
I kind of
Yeah.
figured.
I know that.
So we really loved the Friday night word fights that were going on down in Benson. Chuck and Bill were doing those.
Shout out to Chuck and Bill.
Hey, shout out to the Godfathers, man, because those guys, like, everyone had mad respect for what they were doing, and we didn't want to step on anybody's toes. But the minute they stopped doing it, we went and we talked to them. We said, we want to pick this up. Is that good with you guys, or do you want to be a part of this? And they were like, no, you guys just have it. So then we started doing the verbal assault comedy roast battles for us. And then it became a huge year-long spectacle that culminates in that Salty 16 in March, where we do the bracket roast. And that's just a huge event for everybody. Over the course of the year, while the roasters are going through, we keep track of who's winning, and we reach out to those to come back for those bigger events. And if they can't, then we fill the gaps where we can. But again, proof is in the pudding. You can go to the Funny Bone, you can sit and watch a professional comedian, you can sit in a sellout crowd in a fancy booth, or you can come to a dive bar and you can come listen to a bunch of comedians rip on each other.
Yeah.
You know, and it's important to know when you go to a roast battle that everything's talked about up front. There's not anything that these comedians are coming out with that they haven't approved from the comedian they're roasting with. Right. It's not like we just throw two strangers together. We give them an opportunity to talk ahead of time. This is off limits. Don't talk about my kid. Whatever it is you don't want to hear about. And it makes it a lot of fun. That way nobody's walking out of there with any hurt feelings, nothing like that. So,
And the other thing too that's really dope about you guys is you guys have essentially built that into the same venue despite ownership changes as well. That's a level of consistency that should also be applauded. Do you have any tips for that level of success or anything that you guys did differently to get that?
Don't give up.
Yeah.
Stay patient and persistent. This all came about for us during the pandemic when everything was locked down. And the minute they ended the quarantine or whatever, you could open up again. Nobody still wanted to go out. Well, guess what? We're doing the mask off comedy show. Guess what? We're doing the gloves off roast battle. And we're just trying to, and it's been, 20 people or 30 people, and it just grows year over year, and we were lucky enough to lock into that venue. And we were pretty much the only show putting together revenue for them. And then when they changed ownership, the new owner really liked what we were doing. And I think more importantly, liked how we conducted ourselves as businessmen, as we ran our company, and we treated everybody with professionalism and respect. We make sure that we're paying our headliners, we're paying our hosts, and if there's any extra, we make sure everyone's walking away with something. We're taking care of the talent. And then on the flip side, we're also making sure the wait staff is being taken care of. We're making sure the bar owner's making money at the bar. And at the end of the day, we come back and we talk about it. We talk with her. Was the revenue enough? What do we need to do to get it to where you're comfortable? And I think that there's some value there.
Absolutely.
Unfortunately, I've tried to branch out to other venues, and I mostly get ignored. Or you got to come back and talk to Charlie. He's only here on Tuesdays, right? Well, I can't go see anybody at 2 on a Tuesday. Right. I think a lot of venues are hesitant to pick up comedy because they don't realize what it can be. Yeah. And I don't know if that's because there's a history there, if they've tried it and it's failed, or if they're just not willing to take that leap of faith.
Yeah, because we had that risk, and we got as far as getting we was trying to do an open mic, and we messaged about the open mic, and then they're like, "Oh yeah, that's a good idea. This is my phone number." I'm like, "Oh, even better." I'm telling Terrance, like, "We in there, man. We about to get this open mic game." He's like, "Yeah, let's LFG." You know what I mean? We're both excited. I'm texting. They're like, "Oh yeah, can you meet tomorrow morning?" I'm like, "Well, I got work in the morning." and then it was
Then you're ghost.
no
Crickets.
response. And I'm like,
Crickets.
what is going on,
Yeah.
man? I'm like texting, but
No.
I feel like I just got dumped, man. You know what I mean?
Well,
And
I'm the kind of guy that feels like when that happens, like they were just playing me. They didn't really
Yeah.
want to hear what I had to say. They were just going to waste my time. And one of my biggest pet peeves at my stage in life right now is wasting my time.
Yeah, time.
Time is money, and I'm watching that back into my clock tick. I'm watching people die in their 70s. I'm like, crap, that's right around the corner for me.
Yeah.
I got no time to be miserable.
Man,
and
for
I'm
all
certainly
the-
not chasing anybody.
When he said it wasn't seasoned, man, you got a lot of salt and pepper in your beard.
I do,
man.
I do. The beard of wisdom.
You know what I
like
mean?
everything I've ever learned turned into a gray hair in here.
And you got all these health issues.
Oh, that's
man,
what's
we're
happening
worried.
with my wife. Oh, okay.
That's
Okay.
knowledge
okay.
and wisdom coming about.
That makes it feel better.
got
I thought it
gray
was just stress. I don't want to point them out.
I don't see any gray hair
No,
over
they're
there.
white.
Oh, they're white. That's
That's even
like,
better.
like my dad said, if it ain't white, it ain't right. So you know what I mean? Like, okay, that was too much. Okay,
You just come in by surprise.
All right, maybe that was over the line.
We-
Okay,
no,
sorry
we
about
just-
that. I didn't.
No, we're good.
I just saw him turn his head, man. So I'm like, okay.
Oh,
maybe
boy.
What? Okay. So
I was like, we got the same dad or what?
all my brothers and sisters except me is all half white.
Yeah,
Except me.
yeah.
I'm the only one. Oh, and my brother Tank, but
Wow.
all the rest of my seven,
You-
eight brothers
you
are all
need to
half
stop
white.
doing that because you're diluting the athlete pool every time you do that. Right? You just stop doing
Like
it.
my brother can dunk, but he can't make a layup. It's
I'm
sad,
so
man.
like everybody's like, oh, you know, racial harmony. This is going to be the future, and it's like a mixed kid. Like, okay, that just means our athletes are going to suck. Like,
All right, I'll tell my dad. I think he's done. I think he's done having kids, but appreciate the advice.
come on, man.
How many kids you got, man?
Well, I have three.
You got three kids?
I've got a 30-year-old from my first marriage.
Hey, well, time out. You got
Yeah,
30-year-old?
yeah, from my first marriage. I was 20 in that relationship, and we got married when I was 24, and then we divorced shortly after that. I lost custody battle.
Oh, come on. You don't need to talk about that.
No, this is actually a good story.
Okay, my bad, my bad.
My 30-year-old then, when she turned 18 and graduated high school, contacted me and said she wanted to come live with me here in Nebraska. So I flew out there, watched her graduate, packed up all of her stuff, put her on a U-Haul. We flew back, and she's lived here ever since. She lives like 15 minutes from my house now. And I've got a beautiful 5-year-old grandson. He's amazing. And then I've got a 16-year-old and a 12-year-old.
Wow.
So yeah, with
Wow.
the second wife, she gets mad when I say second wife because that implies
It
maybe
does.
a third.
It sounded terrible.
implies
You
there
said
may be a
second. It just sounded terrible when you said second. There's second wife.
Hey, I
And
refer
you
to my
should-
first as my practice wife.
Right. Practice. So the first one, I wouldn't even say that was practice. That was just
That was a
torture.
lot of practice
I was like a
for me, and I learned what not
POW
to
in that
do.
relationship.
I'm not training anyone else.
I was helped.
Yeah, for real.
captive.
I'm locked in.
I'm tapped out after this.
But no, this is great. My kids are pretty awesome, man. They're doing good in school. They're both little musicians, and
But do they think you funny?
they do.
Yeah, I was about
they
to say,
love my
they-
jokes. They do.
Do they? So now
They
that you
tell
have
me
them-
when they're bad too. They tell me when they suck. So
Okay, but
they're
isn't
really
that
honest
the
with
best,
me.
like when you're killing with your kids, like all I have to do is take my son's shirt, put it on my face, and just make
Yeah.
faces, and
Believe me, it gets harder.
then I go to an open mic.
Even your kid starts to give you like, where's the
Right.
new material? Like,
Listen, if I can make my
Right.
teenager laugh, I am winning because otherwise it's an eye
that's
roll.
old. I don't want to see
Yeah.
it anymore. Like,
It's true.
do they? So since they are older,
Yeah.
they're aware of it now. Do you involve them, or is it kind of at their own pace? Do they want to be involved in that sort
With
of
the
thing?
comedy stuff?
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, nah. Again, they're both musicians, right? So
Okay.
that's kind of their bag right now. And that was my whole life growing
Yeah,
up, too. I was
absolutely.
always involved in music. I never was interested in doing the drama club stuff, mostly because of the kids that were in the drama club. But that explains why I don't get along with a lot of people in this comedy scene, because I don't play the drama club.
Okay, so let's
I'm not going there. I'm not naming names.
Who said I was going?
Yeah, I'm not doing any of that.
Okay. You sure already? It's the season finale, man. We
Yeah.
Oh, I told you we're gonna leave it on a cliffhanger, right?
Okay,
Here's a
okay.
list of all the people
We're just gonna cut off. All right.
watching that
Yeah,
clock
yeah.
when
Yeah. That's how it's supposed to be done. Is this a good
Tune
time?
in next
Is this a good time to then ask you, like we did in the first season? Hey, who is somebody that you absolutely wish you could punch in the face right now?
I don't want to do
right,
that because when I do punch him in the face, I don't want to have evidence that it was premeditated.
I don't want him to see.
Smart.
it coming.
See, you don't have to be a lawyer to know the law.
You don't. You're just a teacher.
So
Just a teacher.
we'll flip it real quick.
Yeah.
What's the comic that you most want to hug?
that I want to hug. Besides you? Man. I mean, like every other day, you like this, bro.
Okay, we're
he just
done,
needs
man.
a hug.
We are
That's all he
done,
needs.
man. We are done.
A hug until he stops crying.
He got all the right answers, man. He's not playing around. He got all the right answers.
Oh man, I get along with so many comedians in this town, and unfortunately, I'm kind of removed from the whole because the way our business works, I handle the back end stuff, the ticket links, the promotion, the marketing, and Caleb books the talent. Caleb's out in the field, networking with the comedians, and I've been really lucky. He's brought a lot of comedians that I really enjoy working with through the venue, so I can't really complain. I can't sit here and necessarily say, hey, there's people I don't want to work with, but I think Caleb and I are on the same page when it comes to the style of comedy that does well in our venue. And I think it doesn't matter if I like you or not.
Politician. How did you not get elected as governor for the state of Nebraska?
I didn't have an R behind my name. If I had run as a Republican, I might have could have won. But I didn't. I'm a libertarian because taxation is theft. Dude, but it's like I just try and stay out of it, and I see all these other comedians doing things that I don't agree with. The gatekeeping, the telling comedians what they can and can't say, saying you're not allowed to say these things. And the reality is I have the First Amendment to the Constitution that says I can say whatever I want, but I have to deal with those consequences.
So you telling me comics gatekeep and tell you
they
what
do
you
that.
can and can't?
They do
Who
that.
Who does that?
Well,
I
mean, I'm not.
Back next season. But what we do
Listen,
know.
if you're watching this, you know who we're talking about.
Oh man, we want names, man. That's one for Nally right here.
I'm
man.
not putting anybody on blast. Listen,
names, man.
I'm going to circle back to my original answer, which is there's plenty of room in this for all types of comedians.
Listen, guys, he might be a good politician, but he is a good person. Because I ran out of gas because I did not make great choices that day, and I was stuck in the middle of Crescent with no ability to get gas. And this man drove me a gas can and put it in my, so I didn't have to
Another reason the man should have been elected.
Right, like he's a good person. So like he says these things, but he backs it up. Like
If that was me, it would have been left on scene.
I would have come for you too. Any of you guys, my homies, I got you.
I genuinely enjoy your presence, man. Like,
But there are people that if they would have called me, I would have been like, sorry,
Yeah,
I know you got somebody else.
Do you worry about comedy when it comes to the governor thing? That's something I've always kind of been curious
So I did.
about. Like, okay.
Yeah, so that was kind of a major hiccup in my comedy career, so to speak, because I really dialed back.
Smear
I wasn't
campaigns
telling
and all of
jokes
that
anymore.
stuff?
I
Yeah.
was writing speeches instead, but I was trying to incorporate jokes into my speeches. And public speaking is a big part of comedy. If you're not comfortable on the stage, the crowd is going to smell it and you're not going to enjoy you. So that, for me, I think I go back to that first open mic. I've been a public speaker for as long as I can remember. I've always been comfortable in front of groups of people.
Right.
So when I got on that first open mic, I had no stage fright. So regardless of whether the jokes mattered, the reality was I conveyed that I was funny.
Yep.
I pretended to be funny, like I knew what I was doing. But when it comes to like running for governor and writing speeches and that kind of thing, I'm not really a politician. I'm just a real dude that understands how people think and communicate. And I think that's important. I don't like to do the taglines. I don't like to do the prescribed textbook responses that are there. Right. One of the things that got really frustrating for me when I was running for governor was we'd do these forums or these town halls, and they'd ask us a real good, solid question, and I'd give a good quality answer to that question. But then every other candidate seemed to find a way to take this question and mumble their way and fumble their way to the talking point they wanted to hit that's closely related to the question. And I was like, either I need to learn how to play that game or they need to stop playing games. Because this is our lives we're talking about. And what we're finding out over and over again is it doesn't matter what they say to us up front. Once they're in office, they're going to do whatever they want, whatever their major donors want, and whatever their lobbyists are telling them to do.
All facts.
So it's frustrating. That system.
And the fact that we got to call it lobbying as opposed to bribery.
Bribery, right?
Whatever. We won't get that political on here.
Which means they literally just stand in the lobby and wait for you to come out of your office, and then they harass you till you say yes. Yeah. It's kind of how I get booked on comedy shows.
I mean, I remember my second Comedy Mafia show. We was at the theater. You set up all your stuff.
Yeah.
And I was like, man, hey guys, they told us we got to wear a mask. Like, we can't do the show without a mask. And I remember you and Caleb was laughing. And I was like, man, these dudes ain't even taking me seriously. I remember I went up there with the mask, and I think everybody saw it, man. I bombed. I honestly, you couldn't understand
Couldn't
me.
hear
It was
anything.
mumble, and everybody's looking like, man, this dude. And I was like, man, that's when I was on my like 50 Cent Get Rich or Die Trying.
Yeah.
I was on a roll at that.
Yeah.
At that point, but when that happened, it was just like, man, it was mumbling, and I think Rashad went, and then I think it was either you. I think it was you. I think you went up there. You didn't have no match. You was a rebel. You didn't care. I was like, damn, this dude ain't playing no games. But that's how I knew, man, you and Caleb, man, y'all do what y'all want to do, but y'all do what y'all think is right too. You know what I mean? We couldn't have did that whole show with masks. You know what I mean?
Right.
We knew better. You know what I mean? But seeing that, it was just, I know y'all do what y'all want, which is cool. Y'all stand by what y'all think is right, man.
Yeah.
So I do got to condemn y'all for that, man.
Thanks,
For real,
bro.
man.
Let's just stay the course, man. We try not to let people influence our vision and our overall mission, which is to provide a stage space for comedians to feel comfortable and take risks.
Yeah.
We want them to come and do that. If the audience doesn't like what you're saying, they will let you know.
Yep.
They are the gatekeepers, and they are the only people I care about whether or not they like my joke.
All facts.
No offense. No offense.
No.
I don't take offense.
Well, you like my jokes.
I like your jokes. I got a 4-year-old.
She said she liked the gas can better, but you know, your jokes was all right, but the gas can
was hilarious.
That's why I always laugh when people would say, well, who do you think you are, Dave Chappelle or Bill Burr? It's like they didn't become that
Right.
in 2 open mics.
No.
Or 16 open mics or 107.
No, or even 8 years.
Right. Like, it's absurd, man.
So we going, man. We got the last minute, man. You got the floor, man. Wrap it up, man. Tell them your socials where they can find you, or you don't want them to find
50.
you.
No. That's not that. Come back with a warrant. Yeah, you can find me at Mr. Z Comedy, Z-Track Productions, and all the social medias, Comedy and Chaos Productions. That is the hotspot for all of our comedy shows that are going on. I'll tell you guys, my YouTube channel is Z-Track Productions as well. I put a lot of videos out there and content. It's hard to grow views on YouTube. You guys know that, right? Like, it's hard to get the subscribers, it's hard to get the likes, because a lot of these other social medias bury the links when you share them, right? So you're not even getting the word out there. So you just got to hope organically it grows. And I would say it's doing really well. So there's some good content on there. I do promo videos. I do flyer production for people. So hit me up if you need any of that line of work, that business. And then check these guys out. All of them are very talented comedians in their own special way.
All right. Well, we know we went over time. That's fine. We can end on that cliffhanger. This has been Food and Laughter. We see y'all in a few months. Appreciate you, Mr. Z. Man, I'm going to mess up your name. Mara Hansen.
You got it.
Terrance Gawith.
There we go.
This has been Food and Laughter. We appreciate y'all. Y'all have a great night. See y'all in a few months.
Yep. Man.
I don't know. I felt like I had to clap.
Food out.